Good Erev Shabbos Hagodol. This video will be not the usual format of 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes of chizuk. This will be more in the form of a mini shir. It is Erev Shabbos Hagodol, but I hope it will be worth it because there will be some Torah, a mini shir, but it will be Torah which hopefully will be relevant and practical, and you'll be able to hopefully incorporate in the avodah that faces us in the week ahead. That's the health warning. So, the first question, which all the Mefarshim ask, is that this Shabbos is called Shabbos Hagodol because of the great nace that took place on this day. Or rather, I should say, on this date. Because it took place on Shabbos, or rather on Yud Nisan, which happened to be a Shabbos that year. But surely that's coincidental. Since when do we commemorate Nisim by the day of the week? We never do that. It's always to do with the date. Now, it just so happens this year it's also Shabbos is Yud Nisan, but that just happens to be. So that's question number 1. Question number 2, the use of the word Godol. What that connotes. Why Godol? We'll come back to that. Let's go off left of field now. And let's think a little bit. I reflected for a while on the recommendation, the suggestion of Moron Reb Chaim Kanievsky Shlita when this whole tzara started, and he suggested that we should all say Tehillim Kuf Mem Beis after Shachris and after Mincha. And initially I was thinking to myself, why Kuf Mem Beis more than Kuf Chof Aleph, Shir Hamales Esoinai, Kuf Lamed, Shir Hamales Mimamakim, Yancha Hashem B'Yom Tzara? There's many other Tehillim that are, why Dafka Kuf Mem Beis? And looking into the Tehillim, I think I had an initial understanding, and I hope now maybe my understanding is a little bit deeper, and I'd love to share this with you because I think it's very helpful. So the first and most obvious is Maskil David Bihi Yosoi Ba Ma'ora Tefillah. David was in a Ma'ora. He was constrained, constricted. He was imprisoned, trapped. Okay, I understand that, and that's similar to our situation, but it's deeper than that. And I think perhaps the key point is as follows: the last pasuk. Hoitzia mi masger nafshi lahoidois es shemecha. Bi yachtiru tzadikim ki sigmoil aloi. David HaMelech davens, Rabbeinu Shloim, please extract me. Take me out from this masger, from this confinement, from this mitzrayim and meitzar, this limitation. Why? On what basis? What should be the rationale? What should be the zchus to be extracted from a masger, from a prison, a golus of some sort? One and one only, lahoidois es shemecha. To acknowledge and thank your name. And I say those very deliberately because the word hoida'ah at its root means to be moide biknas, to acknowledge. And once you acknowledge that you've received something, then of course the corollary, the consequence of that is to thank. But the basis is always, hoida'ah means to acknowledge. Hoitzia mi masger nafshi Rabbeinu Shalom, extract me. Why? Because lahoidoi says shemecha. I will leave this ma'ora and I will have a new perspective. Lahoidoi says shemecha. My whole life will be one of lahoidoi says shemecha. Bi yachtiru tzadikim ki sigmoil aloi. And more than that, tzadikim, through me, through what you do to me, by allowing me to exit, they will give you, Rabbeinu Shalom, yachtiru, your keser, your corona, your crown. Bi yachtiru tzadikim ki sigma lalai. And I think that's meaningful in and of itself, but we have to dig a lot deeper. And I was reminded of the Chazal in a number of places, but I'll read out 2 extracts from the Medrash Tanchuma, because the first person to say this pasuk, say Chazal, was not David HaMelech, it was actually Noach. Noach was in a masger, and he davened. Says the Lashon, says the Medrash Tanchum at the end of Noach. There's 2 pieces. It's also in Pirkei Rebbe Lezer. It's in other places. K'shahoya Noach bateva hoya mispalel tomid hoitzia mi masger nafshi. This is the pasuk, the phrase that was on Noach's lips the entire year. Rabbeinu Shalom, Hoitzia mi masger nafshi, extract me, allow me out, let me out, mi masger nafshi. Tomid, the entire 12 months. Why? Lahoidois es shemecha. He made almost a neder. He said, if you extract me, I will be lahoidois es shemecha. Bi yachtiru tzadikim, says another piece of the Medrash. Shebi noitel HaKadosh Baruch Hu keser, through me, Rabbeinu Shalom, tzadikim, and everybody will be machtir you, they will crown you, because they will say, Noach wasn't such an amazing tzaddik, he was tzaddik v'loy tzaddik shalem, and nevertheless, kach osal HaKadosh Baruch Hu nisim, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu did nisim to him. Kal v'chomer, if he would have been a tzaddik gomer, of course, all the more so. And there's a beautiful piece in Rashi, on the Medrash, where Rashi says, Bi yachtiru tzadikim, and I read, I quote, Benisim she'osa imi, yoidu hatzadikim v'yachtiru sheyiten lecho keser shel shevach. They will give you, Rabbeinu Shalom, a keser, but a very specific crown, a crown of praise. What's this crown of praise? Sheyihu kovim bitfilosom games noyach ba'ahavo zocharto. We will be koveya in zichroinos on Rosh Hashanah, v'gam es noyach ba'ahavo zocharto. Rabbeinu Shalom, you remembered Noach ba'ahava, and that aspect of appreciating the Rabbeinu Shalom who remembered Noach ba'ahava is biyachtiru tzadikim, is to give the Rabbeinu Shalom an aspect of his melucha, of his being a melech, to give him a keser shel shevach. That's what Rashi says. Beautiful Rashi. Let's take this a little bit further. In this week's Haftorah, the Haftorah of Shabbos Hagodol, we join Malachi in davening. And never perhaps has this tefillah been more poignant than this year. We say, Va'orva laHashem minchas Yehuda v'Yerushalayim ki mei olam uchshonim kadmonios. May the Minchas Yehuda v'Yerushalayim, the korban of Mincha of Yehuda and Yerushalayim, be sweet to Rabbeinu Shalom, be pleasurable, agreeable to you. Orev, ki mei olam uchshonim kadmonios, as it once was, ki mei olam, in days of yore, days of old. What is this? Says the Medrash, ki mei Noach. It's a reference to the Vayorach Hashem es reach nichoyach, because when Noach exited the Teva, according to the Chizkuni, the Rekanati, and others, what did he do? He was Mekayim his neder, because he had vowed Lahoidois es shemecha, to bring a korban toida, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said, allow me out, Hoitzia. This was his tefillah, Tomid. Hoitzia mi masger nafshi Lahoidois es shemecha, to be moeder, to acknowledge, to thank you. So he came out, he was Mekayim his neder. He brought a korban toida. Vayorach Hashem es reach nichoyach. And we daven once again. We join Malachi in the Haftorah this week. Va'orva laHashem minchas Yehuda v'Yerushalayim ki mei olam. The first reach nichoyach of Toida. Because that is really the Tachlis Habriya. As the Ramban says famously in the end of Boi. The Tachlis is to be noida, to acknowledge the Rabbeinu Shalom. He hides himself and he challenges us to find him. This is the tachlis of it all. Shahakol bara lichveidai. And Mimela, say Chazal, osid lavai, all the karbanos will be bottled, but the korban toida is not bottled. The korban toida will never be bottled. And so we have found a pathway in our current situation where we sympathize, we empathize, we feel together with not just Avodah Melech but with Noach, where we are so constricted and confined, and this is economically, socially, physically, communally, in so many different ways, and this is to be the tefillah that should be tomid on our lips. And this is what Reb Chaim Shlita meant, Hoitzia mi masger nafshi. But why? Why should the Rebbeinu Shem take us out? On what basis? What is the zechus? How do you found a new world order? Because it will be a different world post-corona. if Mashiach doesn't come with it, it'll be Lahoidos Hashemecha. Let's connect this a little bit more to Pesach and back to our original question also of Shabbos. But to do this, we need to take a little detour. And we need to reflect a little bit on the strange nature of the Hallel that we have on Seder night, because we do something very strange, and I'm not obviously discussing this from the halachic perspective. We're looking at the drush. We start off, and at the end of Magid, and when we are still in a part of the Seder which is labeled, which is defined as Magid, we start off. Even that order is interesting. Not the other way around, but okay. And we launch, and we start. We launch into Hallel. We've clarified intellectually through Torah the Nisim v'Niflois, and now we have to take that further. Min Nisim Hagodolim Hamefursamim, as the famous formulation of the Ramban, Odom Moideh b'Nisim Hanistorim. We need to move on to be Moideh b'Nisim Hanistorim, but we first have to say a Hallel on the Nes. So what do? We say the first two paragraphs of Hallel, what the Gemara in Pesachim calls Hallel Mitzra'ah. The Hallel of Mitzrayim, it mentions it, B'tzeis Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. And then we stop. And then we eat. We have a meal. We finish the meal. Tzafun, Afikomen, Borech, Hallel. Then we do the thing called the Hallel. And no longer do we talk about the Yitzias Mitzrayim. And we do something even more bizarre. We move on to say something which Chazal, the Gemara in Pesachim, calls Hallel Hagodol. That word again, Godel. Hallel Hagodol, the great Hallel, which distinguishes it from the previous Hallel, known as the Egyptian Hallel, the Hallel Mitzrah. And this is a reference to Tehillim Kuf Lamed Vav, which we are all very familiar with. There's only one thing that's very bizarre about Hallel Hagodol. Let me give you a flavor. You all know it. We say it Shabbos Shachris in Psuki de Zimra. What do we say when we say Hallel Hagodol? Hoidu Lashem ki toiv ki l'olam chasdoi. Hoidu l'keilo kim ki l'olam chasdoi. 26 kilo olam chasdois. It's topped and tailed with a word Hoidu. Hoidu Lashem ki toiv ki l'olam chasdoi. Hoidu Lashem ki toiv ki l'olam chasdoi. It's essentially a list of 26 of Hashem's greatest kindnesses, and each of them finished with the refrain Ki l'olam chasdoi, for his kindness is eternal. It's topped and tailed with the word Hoidu, but fascinatingly and bizarrely and intriguingly, annoyingly almost, there is one word which is missing from the great Hallel, Hallel Hagodol. And I'm sure you can guess by now what word that is, and that is Hallel. There is no reference to Hallel. There's no word Hallel, Hallelu, Hallelu, Hallelu. And I don't want to make this video too long, but if you actually look carefully into the structure of the whole Hallel that we say, you see something amazing. We start off using the word Hallel and Hallelu quite a lot. And then about halfway through, we say Hallelus Hashem Kol Goyim Shabchu Kolim Ki Govalin Chaz V'Emes Hashem Le'olam Halleluka, a little mizmor topped and tailed with the word Hallel, and from then on, the whole tone changes and it's Hoidu, 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 Hoidu. No more mention of Hallel. There's a process here. What's going on? It's very simple. Says the Gemara, Kol ha'omer Hallel b'chol yom harizeh mecharef u'megadef. Anybody who says Hallel on a daily basis is a blasphemer. Hallel is said for Nes. Nes is when the perception of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is forced upon us and we have no choice. We don't have to do any work. We can be intellectually lazy. But we have no choice but to acknowledge his existence. That's Nes. That was Yitzias Mitzrayim. But the point of that, as the Ramban says, Min Hanisim Hagdolim Hamefursamim Odom Moideh b'Nisim Hanistorim. Hoida'a, Toida. You can see where we're going. You've got to move on. The tachlis of it, the purpose of it, is to move on to Hodah. Hodah is more exalted, it's more sublime, because it's a result of our own avodah. That's why it's loilam, it's not bottled Todah, because Todah is I acknowledge. We achieve this pinnacle of emunah by ingesting the matzah, which the Zohar HaKadosh calls Michle de Mehemenusa. And here the Maharal tells us beautifully. He says, look into this so-called Hallel Hagodol. And you see it's divided into three parts. The first one is talking about the wonders of creation, the Ma'oros, Leis HaShamayim Bisvuna. Then it goes on to Yetzias Mitzrayim, it's true. And what Hashem did, and he gave us to Eretz Yisrael, and then in the end, it says something which would appear to be totally out of sync, but it is the very reason, says the Gemara in Pesachim, that it is called Hallel Hagodol, because Gedolah HaParnosa Yoser Min HaGeula. And that's why it's called Hallel Hagodol. Noisein lechem lechol basar ki la'olam chazdoi hoidu lekel hashamayim ki la'olam chazdoi. Lechem. That which we have to work for, lechem, the sweat of our brow, we have to work that intellectual avodah that even though I'm kaitz and chayrish and zereh and ma'amar and dosh and losh and losh and but nevertheless to be able to say Rabbeinu Shalom hazonas ha'olam kulei b'tuva, it's you. We start off the Hallel, now it becomes clear. We start off the Hallel and we talk about the nes, and then we eat lechem, bread, where it's matzah, at its most elemental form. And we bench, and then we transcend to be moideh, because that is the tachlis. This is what it was always ever about. It was about being moideh. The Zohar HaKadosh actually says that the point of the Haggadah is like being moideh. The word moideh does not have to mean vidui, something negative. It can be positive. We have vidui ma'asros. I have discharged my duties, my obligations, and I want to actually go to that to finish off. Because the word Haggadah itself, the Rishonim say, I want to read you a few Rishonim, where we come across the word Haggadah, and it is explained by the Rishonim as meaning Hodah. And it doesn't just mean to thank, it means to acknowledge. We come to Eretz Yisrael, we bring Bikurim, the ultimate Todah, the thanks. And we say, Higadati hayoim laHashem Elokecha. I have said today, Higadati, I have declared, I have recited. No, you haven't. How have you done that? The Sforno is bothered by this. And he says, Hidati lakoil mitoich ma'asai eile. Says the Sforno, I have declared through my actions, by coming as a farmer, my hard-earned bread and fruit which I've worked for, and I'm bringing them to you, Rabbeinu Shalom, that is a Haggadah, that is a declaration. Higadati, says the Targum Yonason, V'seimun le oidinon yomodein. Higadati, the word translation, says Targum Yonason ben Uziel, Haggadah means oidinon, I acknowledge. Says the Yerushalmi, oidinon v'shabchinon, I acknowledge and then I thank. The Ramban also says, Bapri hazeh shehevesi higadati v'hoidesi l'Hashem Elokecha. Rabbeinu Shalom, it's all you. Hoidah, the tachlis of all of this, and our challenge in this time of constraints and limitation, is to daven to the Rabbeinu Shalom, Hoitzia mimazger nafshi, Rabbeinu Shalom, take us out mimazger nafshi, lahoidoi seshemecha, to acknowledge. And Shabbos helps us do that, which is why we say Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos Toiv Lahoidos LaHashem. The Mizmor then does not appear to go on to talk about Shabbos. All it does is acknowledge how the Rabbeinu Shalom is behind everything. Lahagid ki yoshar Hashem. I see apparent injustice, but I know v'atomorim lo'olam Hashem. Lahagid ki yoshar Hashem. That is lahoidos, to acknowledge. And so as we face, which is why, of course, to answer the original question that we started with, why it is Shabbos and not just the 10th of Nisan. Shabbos enables us, gives us the koyach lahoidos. But this year, we wouldn't even have needed that, because this year it's so obvious. The economy has ground to a halt. Family life, commercial life, everything has ground to an absolute halt. And we are challenged, and we daven, Hitzia mi mazger nafshi, but only lahoidos eshemecha, to acknowledge and then to thank you, Rabbeinu Shalom. And it's not just nes. It's for the teva. It's the Halel Hagodol is noisen lechem lechol bosor, ki la'olam chazdoi. And we daven together with Malachi this Shabbos, va'orva laHashem, may it be sweet to you, Rabbeinu Shalom, minchas Yehuda v'Yishlaim ki mei olam, Noach, who came out of the teva lahoidos eshemecha. And then we will segue into the avodah of Pesach to say Haggadah, which the Targum has told us means Hoida'ah. And the Rabbeinu Shalom Yitz Hashem will come to each and every one of our Sidorim. And he will see and he will hear how we acknowledge, Bi Yachtiru Tzadikim, we give him his corona, we give the Rabbeinu Shalom his crown. And we daven for a new world order, that when we exit it will be one thing and one thing only, lahoidos eshemecha. And in the Haggadah we will be moida, we will talk about the nisim hagdolim v'hamafursamim, so that we can move on towards the end of the Seder and sing the Halel Hagodol, which is noisen lechem lechol basa, which it doesn't say the word Halel, it's hoidu, hoidu. Min hanisim hagdolim hamafursamim adom moida ben nisim hanistarim. The Rebbeinu Shalom should give us all the koyach, the gesund, to do this avodah, so that we kever within ourselves the understanding of the hidah, the acknowledgement, the achtiru tzadikim. The Rebbeinu Shalom is so clearly running the show, and in that zechus, hitzia mi mazger nafsheinu lahoidos eshemecha bi achtiru tzadikim ki sigmel alai. Good Shabbos, good Yom Tov.